Creator's World. Listen.
We can talk about anything. Creator's Girl Talk. Creator's Girl Talk. We can talk about everything. Creator's Girl Talk.
Let's talk about it.
Girl Talk. Everything pertaining to life and godliness. We can talk about everything pertaining to life and godliness. Creator's Girl Talk. Creator's Girl Talk. Creator's Girl Talk.
Hey everybody! Hey! Welcome to another episode of Creators Girl Talk! Hey! We live in the house today. We got a live studio audience, and we are ready to rumble today. Today I'm here with my beautiful co-hosts, and they are
Rochelle,
Melissa, and we're missing Annie and Kelly, but they know that we love them, and we'll catch you on the next one. But today we have a special guest, and I'm gonna ask if Rochelle would read her bio.
absolutely. We are so excited to have Namia Carnice, a survivor of domestic violence and an eyewitness to abuse within her own family, has a personal passion for empowering women. She has an extraordinary zeal for survivors of domestic abuse and educating the public about signs of abuse, the impact of abuse on the family, and ways to break the cycle of violence. In 2006, she began Women at the Well Ministry as an avenue to minister to the spiritual needs of broken women. Namia started a support group to bring healing, restoration, and resources to women. Oh my goodness, Miss Namia is a certified human resource practitioner and holds an Associate of Science in Computer Technology. She also has a Bachelor of Science in Organizational Leadership and Supervision with a Human Resource Certification and a Master's of Science in Technology with a concentration, in Human Resource Management. Oh, Miss Namia Carnice currently shares Lipstick Affirmation and hosts a podcast show, High Heels and Lipstick Conversations. Through her at social media platforms, the affirmations and podcasts are designed to touch on and explore relevant and everyday topics for women 35 and over. Okay. She is originally from Gary, Indiana. Whoa. And resides in the Chicagoland, Northwest Indiana. Without further ado, we would like to introduce Miss Namia.
So we want to welcome Namia to the show today. Thank you for coming and being a part of Creators Girl Talk on today.
I'm honored. Thank you.
Well, listen, y'all, we got another juicy one today because today we're talking about the art of outloving your spouse. This book was written by yours truly, Markeisha Coleman. This is my first book, y'all. Let's see what God is going to do. All right. We're going to jump right in it today. And the first thing we want to talk about is the big mistake.
Come on now.
Oh, man. Relationships don't come with instructions.
Right.
You know, you can look at other people's marriages and you can kind of base yours off of theirs, or if your mother and father had a good relationship. Some of us learn because our mothers and fathers didn't have a good relationship. So you can learn both ways. It depends on how you take it, you know. But I'll say some of the big mistakes of going in to a relationship or a marriage or anything of that sort is we don't know who we are before we go into a relationship. A lot of us, and I'm gonna just say for myself, I went in with insecurities, doubts, fears, things that I saw in my mom and my dad's marriage, and my uncles and my aunties, things that I saw just on the local level with our neighbors and different things like that, marriage could be extremely scary because it's not really about being married. It's about living with that person for the rest of your life. That's what you need to focus on. If you're going to be with somebody, you need to focus on whether or not you can stand each other in the same room for a long period of time. You hear me? And so when I got a little bit older, it was a lot of things that I could have done better. We don't never say that about ourselves. We always point the finger at somebody else. But when you bring in baggage and they bring in baggage, and now you got a marriage full of baggage.
That's right. Come on now.
That's right. So one of my biggest mistakes was bringing the insecurity there. We were groomed to be very reserved, and it's not that there's nothing wrong with it, but it was one-sided. So the advice they would give us is, don't do it because it gonna hurt. That was all you gave me. You ain't saying nothing about don't do it because it's gonna hurt and you're gonna get pregnant on the first. That was what they told us, instead of telling us it feel good, but you shouldn't do it because you can get pregnant. Or you know what I'm saying? They had us scared to death of things, and we didn't know how to, comprehend that. And then you will show us all the scientific stuff. Do y'all remember when they showed us in school, then we had to go take that little piece of paper home, and they showed us about the menstrual cycle, and they had the little that stuff was weird for me. Like, we didn't hug and kiss our uncles and stuff like that, because we were taught to be ladies. You know, you don't jump in a man's lap and different things like that. But a lot of that kept us from being, really submissive to our husbands in different ways. He want to touch you in a way, and you like, bruh, we don't do that. You know what I'm saying? Because you was taught that, but you didn't know that it's a sign of affection. We really wasn't taught how to be affectionate. We were taught to be housewives. We was taught to be what you supposed to do, and we were reared in a country, right? So you was to have it was for us was barefoot and pregnant. That was it. And you stay and you take care of the house. You wash, you clean. That's all you do. But we don't live in that time no more.
That's right.
We don't live in that time no more. So what were some of you all's mistakes that you made in relationships before you get to the point where you're at now?
Well, the one that you hit on is about the way we were raised. So there are certain things that we were brought up to just not do, and so I spent over a decade, of oh no, that won't never happen if I get married. So too many reservations prior, trying to say this is what the requirement is when the real deal is that it should have been some negotiation.
Right.
Yeah. So that was one.
We had so many stipulations.
So many stipulations.
Me and my sister had a list.
Whole list.
We had a whole list of what we wanted and what we didn't want. We read that list down, and we laugh. We did get a lot of
Oh yeah.
Because you do gotta have some standards. Because you could meet some folks, and oh my God, they can be crazy. You know what I'm saying? So for you.
Oh, you know what? Going into marriage, I probably had all of these ideologies. I think you mentioned that, your role as a wife is to be barefoot, pregnant, homemaker, and that's the extent of your role. Right. I am newly young in marriage, but seeing my mother, seeing my grandmother, and having all these examples of what a wife is supposed to be and what it looks like. I went into marriage with a very, I would just say a very traditionalized view of marriage, and that scared me. Okay, because she read my bio, I have education and career and things of that nature. So my thoughts was going into marriage, all that, you got to push all that to the side, and you no longer can be who you are as a woman. And so it took me a little while, and my husband helped me through that to say, you have your place in the home, and there's responsibilities to the home, but you can still be who you are. Your education still matters, and all of these things that you've accomplished before going into marriage still matters. You can
Absolutely.
still operate in those.
Yeah. And it's a lot of men that can't do that.
Right.
And so I salute Rob because a lot of men are they're very insecure about things that they do, and when it looks like you're outshining them, then they have a problem with that, and they want to shut you down. And we lose our identity within the marriage.
And that was my biggest fear. I did not want to lose my identity in marriage. And I admit that is still something that as I ask him all the time, I'll ask questions to make sure he's okay with certain things, because you got to represent your husband. His thoughts and what he feels about certain things matters, and you got to represent your husband. So that was one of my biggest fears, is losing my identity going into marriage.
I'll talk from a standpoint of being a little bit of the rebel. I was groomed by my parents, but I lost them young. So I saw a healthy marriage. I saw a healthy household. And the first thing that I told, my teenage love, which is now my husband, was, you're going to have to treat me like my daddy treat me. Not knowing metaphorically, he was going to have to treat me like my ultimate father, which is my Father in heaven. And I would always say, I don't want to be married, but I knew in my heart that I wanted to be married because I knew it was right before God. And there were so many things that I didn't understand. And my biggest thing was sort of like you, like, I'm my own person. And when you become into a marriage, you become one. And a lot of things you think that you're going to lose actually just become strengthened. But it doesn't seem that way when you're starting to become one. Because you have two different people with two different characteristics. And one, is more dominant, and I'm, a little bit of what you might call an alpha male. So sometimes I can be a little bit dominant in ways. So it's just parts of, knowing what that submissiveness is and becoming together in one, in that unity. And it's just a beautiful thing once you get over that hump.
Absolutely.
Mine before marriage was giving my love to the wrong people. Oh my God!
Listen,
we are created to be companions, to have companionship, and anybody that shows the attributes that we think that we want in a man or a female, they automatically become the one. We see the signs that they crazy. A lot of times we see the abuse. We see that it's not going to change, and we still stay because we feel like we are in love. And what we really are in is a lust. What they can do for you, but they're really not bringing anything to the table. So a lot of times giving all of that to somebody else made us have apprehension to the real one. When we finally met our real one, we kind of was like, well, he did this and he did that. And I figured out too a while ago, the reason why a lot of people can't enjoy sex like they want to is because they didn't been with so many other people and they didn't turn them out in different ways, you know what I'm saying? And maybe your boo don't do that. He might do something else, but you're craving that. You know what I'm saying? But they don't do that, and you desire that, and that what causes a whole lot of issues in the marriage, right?
You're talking about a big mistake.
You
just reminded me of believing. That was one thing I did, believing that I could assist a person to be changed, that I could make them come to Christ and know Christ in a way that they would be able to adore and, it wasn't a wife yet, but I'm hoping that they would want it to, to have a wife, to retrieve a wife. So you're talking about a mistake.
That's one of the
you do not have that ability.
Yeah.
That's one of
If I, you don't have the ability to change anyone.
That's
That has to come through the Holy Ghost.
It does.
Amen. But I won't go
That's
back.
big, that's a big
Yeah.
one, because a lot of people are stuck in relationships thinking that they can change someone.
Oh, yeah.
And God is the creator of man and the only changer of man. And
The
until
only
they
changer.
get into
Yeah.
that place where
God.
they have opened up their heart to God to change them,
Yes.
there will be no change.
That's right.
You know, and you're gonna sit there and keep on beating the horse, and there's not gonna be a change. So that is really a big one.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are in bad relationships because of that.
And they got to want to change. That's the thing. You can want it for them as much as possible, but if they don't want to change, they're not going to change.
Yeah.
You
They're
know.
not gonna change.
And the sad part about it is that we love them to death almost.
Yeah.
And and they're constantly being a butthole.
Yeah.
I mean that's
so
pretty
crazy.
that's it. And we that's one of the other things I wanted to talk about was letting people take my voice,
Oh,
tricking
yeah.
me into making me feel like I was the one with the problem.
It's called gaslighting.
Hi.
Gaslighting.
Gaslighting.
Yeah.
Gaslighting.
That this
Gaslighting.
morning, in my quiet time, like, you can't want more for someone than they want for themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can have the heart to want and desires to give and love beyond infinity, if it's put in your heart to do so. But you can't give that to someone that doesn't want it for themselves.
Yeah.
And everybody not ready.
Yeah.
They're not ready. And they
even
haven't
though
learned.
they haven't been learning, they haven't been taught, and that's the worst relationship to be in is when someone has not been taught anything and they're just fending for themselves.
Yeah.
Because it is no matter how much you love them, how much stock you try to put into them, they're gonna always be trying to survive.
Yeah.
Instead of just embracing that love.
Yeah. Sometimes for me, I know in relationships where I've stuck and I've ignored the red flags, it was just simply a matter of me hoping, wishing, fear of being alone, and trying to make that man into something that he just was not.
Right.
Even to the point that I can remember in relationships past, thinking the Lord was speaking to me, saying, "Yeah, this is the one." Knowing in my heart of hearts, He was not. But in my mind and my desire for somebody, just tricking myself, thinking that this person was the one, knowing that they were not. And so, a lot of times, I think as women, we have to be self-aware of those desires.
Right.
We have to be self-aware that. In our vulnerability, sometimes that's when the enemy will come and get you the most, and attack you the most. And so, for me, just being stuck is just trying to make something out to be something that it was just not. And I look back now that I'm in a healthy, loving marriage, and I thank God for my marriage. And I'm like, Lord, if I would have given myself to that man, I would be depressed, dusted, and disgusted right now.
Listen, holding on to the revelation, I would have been. Okay? Blind, naked, and rich.
Yes.
Okay? That's why I would have been headed. I'm telling you right now.
Yes, and these are some of the things that we're trying to get expressed in the church. These are things that we don't talk about. A lot of them were arranged marriages, especially if you were pastor's kids. They already had somebody else pastor kid that they was looking at for you to be with, and it wasn't no love in that. And and I want to say. And I love God with all my heart, and so, but I want to say a lot of people use the church to abuse folks.
Oh yeah.
And a lot of our issues came from the religious church, not the real, pure, unadulterated, sanctified, real church. I'm talking about the religious church where all the man-made rules is bigger than the Bible.
Yeah.
Right.
And so the ones who's supposed to been grooming us and teaching us how to be ladies, because we still had our little shapes, and different things like that. And they were the older crowd. They were, and they late 40s and 50s and stuff like that. They wanted to keep us in a place too because they didn't want to see that on us because they didn't have it no more.
Right.
So
sad.
So instead of teaching us how to be the women that we were supposed to be, they taught us how to be downtrodden and take abuse.
Right. Low spirit.
Yeah, they taught us how to be unattractive to our husbands. It was things that I experienced in the church that they wanted to change about me, and they knew I wanted to be saved. So you could almost tell me anything, you know, and I was like, well, if that's what I got to do, well, you got to take off your earrings. You can't wear no makeup. You could wear your wedding ring and a watch. You got to have on long sleeves at all times. And what they did to an already insecure young lady was put more insecurities on me.
Yeah.
It didn't help me, you know. And so, like I said, it made us unattractive to what our husbands really wanted, because you're supposed to be reserved. They even went so much as to tell us what you can and cannot do in your bedroom. And that goes against what the word says. It said the bed is undefiled. What you do in the sacred chambers of your home is in your sacred chambers. You know what I'm saying? I can speak for myself because I was a very outgoing, you know, young lady. And when I got ready to get saved, they told me I had to throw all my pants away. Then I inherited the blue jean skirt with the big bow and the raggedy ponytail and the gym shoes. Well, my husband didn't want that. You know what I'm saying? But that was sanctification. That's what holiness was. But that wasn't right.
And that's a mistake.
The only person.
You better dress up for your husband.
Right.
Out of bondage.
Yeah, and they made us shame. Like they made us shame, you know, to do different things. And you see little sexy women, and you might see your man kind of look off to the side. The only reason why he looking out the side because he can't see it on you.
He looking to the side. You probably looking to the side too. Like, well, you not gonna be cute.
Right. I got a booty too. You know what I'm saying? Like. You looking at her because
one time for Lady Pastor.
Come on here. It's the truth. This is stuff that we need to do. I talk in my book, and one of my best friends said it cracked her up. I said, which one of y'all had a baby off of Jesus is on the main line? Tell them what you want. Come on. Huh? What? It's a meeting.
I saw
Come
that.
on. It's a meeting in our bedroom. Come on.
And the church is not invited.
No. You are not invited in that room.
Right there.
That's not the intercession. People get delivered.
That's it.
It took a long time. It took a long time for me to shake a lot of that stuff off that I had been taught. We're scared to wear pants in the church. Because the Bible says you shouldn't wear anything that's pertaining to the opposite sex. Or you can't wear your hair braided. But you're not reading the rest of the scripture when it comes down to the one about braiding. If you go down a little bit further, it said, but if a man is contentious with it, then there's no problem with it, even in the church. It said in the book, it said God said that I gave you the jewelry, I gave you the earrings, I gave you the gold. You were the one who perverted it and turned it into something else.
And that's the mistake.
I was saved with the earrings on, and I could be saved with them off.
Hallelujah.
These are things that we need to talk about, because we got to kill that church hurt spirit.
And listen, y'all, you know what? Stop hurting people out there.
Please
Stop giving information about things that you are not aware about. That's not okay.
Right.
Okay?
It's not okay.
Stop hurting people. What they say on Facebook? Hurt people, hurt people.
But if you don't got no grace, sit down.
Right. And stop giving
for that.
people advice based off of your messed up relationship.
That too.
Everybody relationship ain't gonna be checked though.
Right there for
It's
a
real.
minute.
It's real. It's real.
It is real.
Girl, don't do this because I'm gonna tell you what they told my husband when I got married. They was like, look, at this age she gonna do that. At this age she gonna do this. And he was looking for it. I'm setting up scenarios, and he looking at me like I'm crazy, and I'm looking at him like, what's wrong with you?
Right.
And he waiting on me because they didn't groom him in what every woman gonna do at a certain age. Until he came to, no, my wife don't do that.
Right.
We had one pastor go so far as to corner us off when we first got married. He said, now look, no, we had to be about 2 or 3 years married in. He said, and don't y'all be calling each other names and stuff. And I let him talk for a long time, kind of trying to respect my elders. But when he got to that, don't be trying to call each other names, I said, look here, I was gonna let you finish this, but we don't do none of this stuff you talking about.
Right. This don't even.
This was something you must have did in your relationship, but over here in this house we don't. Yeah. I said I had to stop him because we got to stop letting people speak stuff into our lives that don't go. Even if somebody is prophesying for you, and I know we deterring a little bit, but this is for free. You need to quit letting people prophesy stuff to you that don't match what's going on with you.
That's right.
I know that's right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And tell them.
Think about it. To take what you're supposed to take and throw away what you're not supposed to take.
Yeah, one end out the other.
To.
I ain't saying, transform on them and, try to, give them no karate chops or nothing, but you can kind of whisper in their ear and say, you're going the wrong route.
Yeah, God bless you.
And you also can walk away, and you can stop people from laying hands on you too.
Yeah.
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Woo! This one got me on fire today.
Yeah,
I tell you, I'm
buddy.
passionate about this book.
Yeah.
But guess what, y'all? Guess what time is it?
What time
It's
is
time
it?
for the Bishop's Corner. We'll be right back.
Welcome to the Bishop's Corner.
Talk to us, Bishop.
Hello, everybody. This is the Bishop's Corner. The Bishop's Corner of the Creator's Girl Talk Show, and I am your humble servant, Bishop Duane, the Creator's Boy Coleman, and of course, standing beside me is the author of this wonderful book, Prophetess Markeisha Coleman, the Creator's Girl. Yeah. This book is an incredible read, and you can sit and read through this book nonstop. It's got so much rich love stuff in it. Makes me blush when I read it. But anyway, we're talking about the art of outloving your spouse, and I just want to get to the love part. This is the love month, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, it's the love month, and on the 14th, we're facing this whole Valentine's Day thing. Can I talk about love real quick? Love takes such a great risk. Love is not just risky. Love takes the risk because love does the loving. And if you want to get down to the pure definition, the very pure definition of the centrality of love, it is the willingness to lay down one's life for their object of affection. And to see a clear picture of love, you have to look at the cross. And you have to see that that very act that Jesus did at the cross is the very definition of love. He was blessing us. And I just feel that if each spouse were busy laying down their own lives and their own agendas in order to be a blessing to the other spouse, no spouse could go not blessed. Right. You see what I'm saying? Y'all can clap if you want to. The reason I say that love takes a great risk is because love will lay down and die for its object of affection, regardless to whether its object of affection even loves it back. Ain't that something? Jesus Christ loved everybody. The Father loves everybody. God so loved the world. But knowing that the whole world wouldn't love him back, he still laid his life down. And sometimes that's the case even in our marriages. The husband will love a wife that won't love him back unconditionally. Or the wife will love a husband that won't love her back, and she'll love him unconditionally. That is amazing to me. Here's the crazy part. You can experience that love. You can lose that love. You can choose to love that love back. But even the love of God by itself cannot save a person. Right. God's love can't save you. Choosing God's love is what saves you. So if we're going to save our marriages, if we're going to savor our marriages, if we're going to value our marriages and treasure our marriages, we have to choose to respond lovingly to love. Am I right? Give me a kiss. So this has been the Bishop's Corner of the Creator's Girl Talk Show. Thank you so much for listening. and amen.
We're back! Hope you enjoyed the Bishop's Corner! Oh, he talked about some juicy stuff in there too. What I like the most is that it's all geared towards love. We serve the God of love. And we said that we're filled with his spirit. We're supposed to be filled with that same love. And so how can we be abusive to our mate and our spouse if we're coming from that love? Because the word says that love is patient, love is kind, love is not envious, love does not boast, love does not count the wrongdoings. I talked about that the other day when we were at Second Baptist, where you bring up old stuff. It's supposed to be a new day and you're trying to start over, and this is one of the things, like a big mistake that we do in our marriages as well. But I want to talk about the Hosea effect. Again, you need to get this book. You need to get this book. If you don't know anything about who Hosea is, let us tell you that Hosea was a prophet of the Lord, and he was instructed by God to marry a whore.
That's the truth.
A loose woman, the woman of the streets, And he had to watch his wife over and over in the streets, sleeping with different men, and he would have to go and rescue her.
Come on now.
How many of us, now this was ordained. This wasn't he just married the wrong person. He was told. Now it was a twofold situation, because God was trying to show him about his people. Hosea didn't care about his people either.
That's right.
He had very disdain for it. They was hard-headed. He didn't want to give them the message. So God was using that to show him his love for his church and for his people. So he used his relationship to show you that these whorish people, these hard-headed, stiff-necked people, you're going to have to give them the word that I want you to give to. But by the end, Hosea's wife had got sold into slavery. It had got that bad. And I mean, she was having kids and everything. And every time she had a kid, he would name it something else that would help their marriage and Israel. Like one of them was like "lay on me" or something like that. And it means like the last one was that it meant that you are not my people. It was like this ain't my wife. I don't care what none of y'all say. Because how many people would go with that? You know what I'm saying? How many times you go, and I know it was at least, I don't know how many times she went out, but it was quite a few. And you have to constantly go back and get her. And she's dirty. And she's filthy. And she don't smell good. She don't look good no more. But something about her, God made him be in love with her to the fact that he could not leave her to represent that house of God. That's right. Ain't none of us gonna do that.
Right. That's hard. That's hard.
The thought.
Even when God told us. We
would be so disobedient. You want me to go marry my Lord.
And then everybody had to know about it.
Right.
And it wasn't even the fact that he had to marry her being, the whore. It was like, I got to continue to be married to her while she continued to be a whore. That was the part for me.
She kept doing it.
She kept doing it, and I got to stay.
Can you imagine a man in 2023 getting that mandate from God? Like, I don't know too many men.
I can't say that they would
like that, but men. Oh my goodness.
I know I couldn't marry a man whore. No, I couldn't be with a man whore. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't do it. You consistently. And the Lord would really have to talk to me, baby.
Jesus,
I believe God Himself will have to descend from a cloud.
Jesus Himself.
To tell me what I'm saying, but I give it to Hosea. He finally got it, and this is how God deals with us sometimes too. Y'all know that, right? He keeps us going through the same situations, the same cycles, the same issues, until you get it, until you surrender, until you say, "Okay, Lord, not my will, let Thine be done." Because enough is enough already. We used to go through the same cycle every year during the summertime. My whole family used to go through this same cycle until one day I looked at a post and I said, I even posted the same thing. I posted the last year and the year before that was darn near on the same day. I said, oh no, this something's got to break.
Listen, the enemy is deceitful in all his ways.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? To try to pull trickery
Come
and
on
put it,
now.
you know, the organized trickery.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Right. And what I do like about it is that it was from God.
Come on, it was.
And
from
sometimes
God.
our trials, you know, even in marriages, you know what? Your marriage should be ordained by God.
And here's the thing with the whole Hosea effect.
Tell
And
us.
this is the part what I call the art of outloving your spouse because it's unconditional. You know,
right.
if I'm spending all my time making you everything to me, and you spending all your time making me everything to you, we ain't got time to do nothing else.
Nothing
right.
else.
And then God said at the end, He received His people when Hosea said, you know what, I love my wife, and he went and got her out of slavery, and therefore when he got the release
Come on.
from her, that's when the people of Israel got released.
Come on now.
See how God
Yeah.
works?
And we would give up before then.
Yeah.
Oh,
And we wouldn't
Yeah.
get, that's like somehow being hard-headed and not getting the promise like Moses.
Yeah.
He said, speak to the rock. But
Yeah.
because you tapped it the first time, you
Yeah.
know, tapping it worked. But I told you to speak to it this time. You're going to tap it anyway because you mad at the people.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And now you missed your promise.
It's so crazy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You missed your
Yeah.
promise.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, wow. What gets me is we talk about a whole lot of these things and to try to bring it to a close, but we never tell people how to stay married.
Yes.
Right.
What
We
do you
talk
do
about
in your
that.
marriage to make it work? Because it's a consistent compromise.
Yes.
A marriage is a lifelong commitment and compromise. And if you're not ready to compromise,
Yes.
you know, then you have a problem. If you're not ready to be submissive, you have a problem.
That's a problem.
Some people, and even in their vows, I've seen women clench their teeth when the word submissive come up. But it's an order to it because that man has to be submissive to God, and he also has to be submissive to you in a way
Yes,
too.
submit to
It's
one another.
it's a both, you know, it's a, you know, you together on it, you know.
Yeah.
And so when you don't have that, that's when everything is going to be lopsided. One can't want more out of the marriage than the other one. It has to be a balance. And one person can't give, and the other person is not giving anything.
That's right.
It's going to ruin it.
That's
You
right.
know what?
That's right.
My heart is going to an example we used to give in therapy. When you have two people and you're in a relationship, you it's almost as if you're walking up to that person with a tray. You know, another person has a tray in front of you. All this stuff is on there. You know, all the things you used to be or who you used to be with. You're supposed to take that tray, look into each other's eyes, and say, "We no longer want any of this. We're going to start out fresh together." And you know, that's what you got to do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Start out together.
Sacrifice.
Throw away all the
It
stuff.
is.
Right?
Yeah.
Sacrifice.
And start
It's
and sacrifice.
definitely dying, and it's a daily process. Just like you
Daily.
know, it's daily.
Yeah.
You know, you may wake up with your spouse, and it could be something that just irritates you that they've been doing all the time
The whole
you've been
time.
with
You
them,
hear me?
Right.
and
Since
it be
you know
like,
'em.
wow,
But
just
today,
not noticing
but
this
this
is
is
today.
right here.
Today, I'm
Right.
talking about today.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to kill self today because this is getting on my nerves today.
Yeah.
So it's a sacrifice every day when you're in a marriage.
Learn how to walk
Every
away.
day.
Yes.
Every day.
Yeah.
And choose your battle.
Take a
Oh
break.
my goodness.
Is
Yes.
that a good one?
Choosing your
Choose your
battle.
battle.
your
That's a big
battle.
one. Yeah.
Right.
It's
Know when to
important.
let it go.
Yeah.
It's okay. You know, when we're young, we have to be that bigger person or whatever.
Yes.
Have you know when the other person is not in the will of God,
Yes.
and you need to
Right.
reserve.
And you don't have to get the last word.
You
No,
don't.
forget about
You don't
it.
have
Let
to
it
get
go.
That
the
is a
last
big
word.
one for women.
You
Yes.
don't have to get the last
Help
word.
somebody,
You
sister.
do
Tell
not
them.
have to get the last word.
Right.
Sometimes I had a prayer like that I had to pray to the Lord for years. And I honestly can vouch for this because I wasn't always saved. I was a rebel. I'm telling y'all, I was bad. And I had a mouth, and I had to pray for the Lord to hold my tongue.
Yes.
Like, Lord, hold my
Yes.
tongue so that I don't say something to break my husband down, that I don't
Yes.
say
Because
something
we know
to
how to do
ruin
it.
my
And
relationship.
it's
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You know, because
our
I
mouths
don't
are
want to be
deadly.
that
That's the one
person.
thing we
Okay,
got
well,
as
how
women.
about
We
that?
can
You
use
have
our
to.
mouths.
Yeah,
Right.
you
And we have to realize too that
Yes.
Men are sensitive too.
They
Yeah.
are.
You know, they got feelings.
Real feelings.
And I wouldn't
They
want a
do.
man that's not
Human beings.
sensitive.
Right.
Right.
I mean, I don't
'Cause
want.
he may not be too
you don't want a
sensitive
weak
to
man,
you.
but I want a man that is sensitive. Because if you dealing with a man that doesn't have a conscience or any empathy or have that sensitive side,
Cry
then
sometimes.
they don't.
Yeah.
You know they portray this hardness, and that hardness becomes a hardness in their heart, and then that hardness becomes your relationship.
Uh-oh.
But that's a whole nother
I
way
was
we're
gonna say, I
going.
think
We're
that's
not
a
going
place
to
right
go on there because we
Okay.
keep on talking about this marriage thing.
Listen,
Right.
listen.
Yes, we are trying to encourage.
Yeah.
So-
But we want people to stay married.
Yes, we do.
Right.
Yes.
We believe
We
in
believe.
marriage.
We
in
believe.
marriage.
Amen.
So all them people that's
Why they
out there
trying to
telling
tear it
people
down?
to leave their husband, leave. Oh, he did that. Oh, she did that.
If I was you-
Shut your
no,
mouth.
this the
because
one-
You don't know the whole
Oh, my
situation.
God.
You never tell someone to leave their marriage unless they're in a relationship where you know that their
About to
life is
die.
at stake.
Yeah.
Okay, now that's a whole different scenario. But people have it really bad with telling people to leave their spouses when you don't know the whole or you haven't worked in this relationship.
And then you gonna be in all those years. Y'all done been through trials and tribulations together. You've been married for 30 years, and then you gonna walk away
That's right.
to start over.
Does that make
Right.
sense to anyone?
Because I don't want to date
Listen.
nobody.
So what?
I couldn't do
that-
it.
Ain't
the same
nobody
No.
way.
date mama.
Does
Let's
that
talk
I
about
do it
that
the
part.
It is finished. Listen,
right?
it's gotta
All
work.
that time for
Mr. Miller is stuck like
You
Chuck.
hear
But
me?
Right.
It got to work.
you better go on the other side of the house.
Like,
What?
you better
This is
go
an
and take a
investment.
walk and come on
Praise
back.
God.
We talk about that later.
You better go in your man cave and then I see you know.
I'll be back.
Right.
I
All
know
right.
that's the enemy.
So listen,
Okay.
ways to stay married.
Yeah.
Know who you are and what you bring to the table.
Yeah.
I agree.
Take the time to know everything about the person before you are involved with them.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Know their unknowns. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
How many people you done had sex with? You know what I'm saying? What kind of sex you like? You know what I'm saying?
It's
Who
important.
you
Talk
married?
about it.
You know
It's important.
You know what I'm thinking about right now?
It's important.
You know what I'm
What's
saying?
that new
Because
fad
people got
that's
some
going on?
ways. Some folks like hitting
Yes.
people with meat and stuff. You know,
Okay.
he might be one of them.
Right. Listen, we've been hearing
Not
about
with
this
the
stuff
meat.
that's going on.
You listen.
What-
You
What's
hear
that
me?
new thing?
Yes, the polygamy.
Uh-huh.
How about what's your major pet peeve? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
What makes you mad? What makes
Right.
you happy?
That's
What's
it.
your favorite color? You know what I'm saying? Do you got a trigger? You know what I'm saying?
Do you like
Do you want to
sundresses?
be touched there? Do you not want to be touched there?
Right.
Yeah.
We don't act.
Oh.
Do you got bad credit? We don't ask
The
none of
real
these
deal
questions.
is, do you believe in good hygiene?
Ooh.
Have you been?
Know your compromises.
Yeah,
Know where
yes.
you are willing to compromise and lay yourself down to make that relationship work.
Yeah.
Because there may be some points that you like, no, that one I just can't do.
Yeah.
You know, and
Right.
you have to know your boundaries
Yes.
and know what you're getting into.
Lord have mercy.
We praying
And
today.
don't ignore the signs.
Please.
Yeah.
I want to throw this book right now.
Right.
Don't
Because I know all of us been sitting here and have ignored some signs that we really was like, when we got over it, we was like,
Right. Right.
I'm thinking.
Right.
but listen, so
Lord help.
we want to hear a little bit from Namia and about her podcast and
Yes.
stuff.
Yes. So I have a podcast. And I'm on all social media platforms at She Is Nemia, and that's NEMIA. And I host a podcast called High Heels and Lipstick Conversations.
Yes, it's a
And
good one.
listen, it is for my ladies. It is for ladies of a certain persuasion. It is for seasoned ladies.
Yes.
And it's just where I am in my life. Right, I'm a married woman. I'm a woman that's over 40, and it talks and speaks to those women who are just like me.
Yeah.
Married women, women over 40s. You know, we touch on topics that are men can identify with, but primarily my audience is for women, and so it's grown women conversation, it's classy conversation, but it's always conversations that's going to change you, that's going to challenge you, make you think, make you laugh, and it's just an opportunity to speak to ladies and where we're at right now. So on February 26th, which is a Sunday, at 6:30 p.m., my next show is called For My Aunties, because we call ladies who get to a certain season in their life, we call them aunties, and there's a whole significance around that term auntie. But we're also going to talk about how do you handle just entering into that midlife when things start to change, when your body starts to change, your hormones start to change, and things start to happen, your joints start to hurt. But then also the mental health aspect of it, like you're entering the middle season of life. What regrets do you have? Have you accomplished everything that you have set out to accomplish? Just things that again are specific to us as women of a certain persuasion, a certain age, so grown conversation, right?
Yes, and it's interesting that you have a passion for domestic violence, but so do I. And every year I do a volleyball tournament in October geared towards domestic violence. So we're going to get together and do some things. I would love for you to come speak, because we're always looking for somebody to actually come out and tell the people, like, it don't just happen to women, it happens to men as well.
Absolutely.
And a lot of times we don't see the signs because we're in, we really feel like we're in love with them. But we have to know where we are, know. And so I am grateful today that Leah came and shared with us. We want this to be a good relationship. We want to do this again. We talk about different things when we do our Creators Girl on the Move. We're looking to do some, open up some different avenues for Creators Girl Talk. It's just not going to be, locally. We want to be nationwide, and I really believe we are, because we got noticed in Detroit. We were all the way in Detroit in the hotel, and they was like, y'all the Creators Girls. We was in Florida and different places like that. So you never know who's watching us, and we really appreciate all of our followers. We want to give a shout out to New Divine Truth. They hold us up in the spirit, and we're grateful. We're grateful to our bishop who allows us to have this platform, to be able to talk to the people. We hope that something that we are saying or doing is really helping somebody. Please like, subscribe, share, tell everybody about us. We're on YouTube. Again, we're on Facebook and Instagram. Soon we're going to try to do some things with TikTok and whatever else is out there. We want to do that. So we thank you again. Thank you so much.
This was fun. I'm always humbled and honored when ladies come and invite me to do platforms like this. God bless y'all. This is so needed. Thank y'all for being real, because it's needed.
It's really
needed. And y'all just keep doing it. It is going to be worldwide. It's going to be recognized.
Well, favor is deceitful and beauty is vain, but a woman that feareth the Lord, she shall be praised. This has been another episode of Creators Girl Talk.
Creators World, listen. We can talk about anything. Creators Girl Talk.